Hey bros, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. For the first time in what feels like forever, I could like break out into a Disney song. There's not a new Hawass fragrance. At least not yet. Entirely possible, because this happens sometimes where I go over upcoming releases, that tomorrow there's another Hawass announced and I have to do like an update. But as of right now, there is not a new Hawass. But what there is coming up that we need to talk about is 2 new Club de Nuits. Armaf saw that there were no Hawasses released and they were like, don't worry, brother, I got something coming out. It's our time to shine. That's not all though, that is not all. There's also a new Gucci Guilty, there's a new Marwa, there's a new Parfums de Marly, so there's a lot of different things to go over. Now, most of this info I'm gonna be pulling from My Fragrance Official, among other websites. It's gonna be linked in the description. Feel free to go ahead and check out that site if you want more info on upcoming releases when they're announced. What do we want to talk about first? Let's talk about one of the Club de Nuits. So we got 2 of them. The first Club de Nuit I want to talk to you about, upcoming Club de Nuit, is Armaf Club de Nuit Intense KSA National Day Edition. So this is a commemorative Saudi National Day version of CDNIM with the bottle dressed around Saudi colors and imagery, which you can tell pretty easily by taking a look at the front of the bottle there. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia National Day. But it's interesting because depending on what photo you look at, it's different. You know, some have the bottle dressed up, some have the bottle looking plain, but I would imagine it's gonna come with the dressed up bottle. Nice. And this isn't the first time they've done something like this, because there is this special edition right here, which is UAE National Day, Spirit of the Union. And now Saudi Arabia getting their own version. So let's go ahead and take a look at the note breakdown here. Off the top, apple, bergamot, blackcurrant, pineapple, and lemon. In the mid, rose, birch, jasmine. In the base, musk, ambergris, patchouli, vanilla. As of right now, launched exclusively in Saudi Arabia for the National Day, which this one was also like that, and eventually they started to matriculate to like eBay and other places where you could pick this up. So it's gonna be the same deal here. You'll eventually be able to pick this up somewhere, whether that's discounters or eBay or elsewhere. And one media write-up describes the KSA National Day edition of Club de Nuit Intense as a modernization / reinterpretation of the CDNIM DNA, but the published note pyramid, the one I just gave you, is completely identical to regular CDNIM. And that's kind of what this is right here, UAE National Edition. It's not the exact same as normal Club de Nuit Intense Man, but you know, it's right there. This one's a little smoother, maybe more in common with the limited edition, which is kind of funny because you're like the special edition kind of is like the limited edition, which by the way is not actually limited. You can find that just whenever you want, actually. But yeah, the special edition is basically the limited edition with a couple of small tweaks. And then you've got the normal edition, you got the extreme, you got the extrait, you got the eau de parfum, you got the eau de toilette, you got the pure parfum, you know, you got all these different versions of it. At a certain point, it does become kind of insane.
Say what?
And then there's also Club de Nuit Absolute, which is like a duty-free exclusive in like Dubai. And that one is actually a little bit harder to get a hold of, but holy crap. So yes, there is a new Club de Nuit coming. It is a new special edition, and it's probably gonna smell like this, but they are saying that it's a new reimagination. How new, how different? Bro, I don't know. I got no clue, man. It's coming out though. So be on the lookout. If you like that CDNIM, brother, keep your eyes open on that eBay. When you see that bad boy jump up on there, you grab it. Or you actually email me first, that way I can grab it. And then if there's one left, you can grab it. Legitimately though, if that does pop up on eBay or if somebody can get a hold of it, let me know, because I do want it. Actually, I want Club de Nuit Absolute, and I saw an email that somebody had sent to me a while back, and they're like, you can get it, I can get it for you. And I'm like, ah! I didn't answer at the time. It was like too late, it was in my junk email. So I'm sending out feelers if any of you know where to get it. All right, let's talk Gucci. Yeah, that Gucky. Gucci Guilty Eau de Toilette Intense. Yay. My favorite thing in the universe, when they come out with the flanker and they just call it friggin' concentration and throw intense on the end of it. Pretty lame, actually, but you know, hey, whatever. Could have just called it Gucci Guilty Intense, but they technically already released Gucci Guilty Intense, so now they've got to have Gucci Guilty Eau de Toilette Intense. Ugh. And this one is actually already for sale at Macy's. I bought my bottle today, but it says it's not gonna be here for another like 3 days. What I'm saying though is you can buy it if you want. I have no clue if it's good or not. I'll know in a few days, like I just said. Again, on Macy's, and I'll have it linked in the description in case you want to check it out, it says, mysterious freshness distinguishes Gucci Guilty Eau de Toilette Intense Pour Homme Spray, blending a woody aromatic fragrance with refined salt accord, iconic lavender oil, and creamy, smoky Palo Santo. The captivating scent creates an intriguing atmosphere with a misty, refreshing character. I love how long they made the friggin' name there. Gucci Guilty Eau de Toilette Intense Pour Homme Spray. Thanks for spelling it out for me. I would have been super confused if you didn't let me know all those different things instead of just calling it Gucci Guilty Eau de Toilette Intense, which is already kind of long as it is. So yeah, they're pushing the idea of mysterious freshness here. The bottle's pretty cool. I like the blue color scheme along with the typical black, or I guess typical if you're comparing it to Gucci Guilty Black / Gucci Guilty Essence since they changed the name. And this one is a deliberately stripped back 3-part composition. My favorite. When I see these 3-note breakdowns, it makes me think of The Office, right? Like, why use many word when few word do trick?
So me think, why waste time? Say lot word when few word do trick.
I guess, yay, good for you. 3 notes. So we have salt accord, lavender oil, and Palo Santo accord. So assuming that the salt accord is going to be kind of like an aquatic minerality, also that would make sense because the bottle itself is blue. So a marine type of freshness rather than your more standard big pop of bergamot or lemon or grapefruit or apple. Lavender is going to make the aromatic the aromatic heart of the fragrance, which is gonna probably connect that back to the traditional Gucci Guilty setup. And then the Palo Santo, they say, like I said, is what, smoky and creamy. So I'd imagine kind of a warm, dry woodiness as that dries down. Essentially a marine, aromatic, woody breakdown is what it looks like. And I know it sounds like I'm halfway hating on this, but I'm really not. To be fair here, at least it's not the typical type of 3-note breakdown we've gotten 50,000 designers of lately, which is a bergamot off the top, followed by lavender, and then wait for this. Hold on to your balls. Vanilla. Yeah, that's right. Vanilla. Very brave. And I know a lot of people don't have a ton of faith in Gucci Guilty, but a lot of the fragrances are actually low-key really, really good if you're looking for something that has versatility and complement factor kind of baked in. All right, next up, let's talk about the new Marwa, but before we do, let's talk about my other channel. Haha, got you. You thought I was gonna talk about coupon codes. Those are actually in the description. You can copy and paste them across a multitude of different websites to save money, like a JOMASHOP, Bragflex, and more. And they're also on your screen, yeah. So use those, save some extra cash, brother. But yeah, I've got another channel. It's called Gents, SETS. Remove the C, remove the N. And it's my other hobby, it's cards. So we're talking sports cards, hockey, baseball, etc. Trading card games, superhero cards even. I collect a lot of different cards. But that's also linked in the description. If you want to throw me a pity follow, please do so. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that one's a lot more of just kind of screwing around because that's, you know, it's got an exquisite texture to the card here. Oh. All right, so the next one, Marwa Extrait. That's what you gotta do, right? If you're a brand and you got a fragrance that becomes a big hit, you just gotta take a fat rip and go, we're making another one. Reminds me of, what was that, like Groucho Marx or something with the cartoons back in the day with the cigar, and he'd be like, rah, 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 rah. I just imagine them doing that. Like in my head canon, that's what's going on behind the scenes at these brands. Like something takes off and they make a lot of money and they're like, rah, rah, rah. We're gonna make another one, see? Yeah, so Marwa Extrait, this one has a top of bergamot, lemon, and orange. Get that citrus going. Mid of ginger, cinnamon, and neroli. Base of ambroxan, black tea, olibanum, and gaiac wood. So, I mean, if you know what Marwa is, then you pretty much already know what this is, right? Marwa smells very similar to Imagination by Louis Vuitton. And essentially, looking here, ginger, citrus, neroli, black tea, and ambroxan, not exactly difficult to figure out what's going on. Also, you know, the fact that it's the same name doesn't hurt. I wonder what enormously popular luxury fragrance could have inspired this new release. It just won't come to me. So essentially what this should be is a deeper, richer, bolder, and I would imagine more powerful take on imagination. And already as is, Marwa is pretty much the go-to for a lot of people when it comes to an imagination type fragrance. And so I would imagine what they're doing here, or what I would have done anyway, and so that's why I'm imagining is what they're doing, is taking the feedback and saying, okay, this is maybe what people would like changed if this were the truly ultimate version of this fragrance, and then that's what this new one should be. And if that is the case, then this would probably leapfrog right to the top of the imagination heap, even more so than Marwa probably already is. So if you're a big fan of imagination, big fan of Marwa, then you have a new one to collect Pokemon style in the very near future. Now there's a couple other like smaller, like fringe-ish releases, comparatively speaking, to some of the ones we've talked about so far. And I want to talk about a couple of those just really quickly, especially this next one, which is Brioni, Mare, Assoluto. Did I pronounce that correct? No? Okay, cool. Brioni, Mare, Assoluto. What? Look how it's spelled. It's phonetics. So this is a line that I really, really do like some of the fragrances from, especially Brioni Intense, man. That stuff is good. Flies under the radar a little bit. It's one of those if you know, you know type scents. And even though it's just kind of like, hey, look, water, it's cool. The media photos do make me want this one. So in terms of the note breakdown here, we've got fig off the top, which for some people is gonna make your ears just perk right up. You're gonna be like, huh? Did you say fig? Huh? Because some people love fig fragrances, and there's not a crazy huge amount of them out there. So when a new men's fig fragrance drops, those people are they're gonna perk up. Other people are like, oh, fig sucks. Anything with fig in it, bleh, bleh, bleh. So just be aware, fig. For some of you, that's good. For others, bad. For others, maybe indifferent. Also lemon, cedrat, and cardamom off the top. And then in the mid, cypress, sage, and marine salt accord. This is the second fragrance in a row with marine salt accord. And then in the base, moss, vetiver, and sandalwood. And there's a little bit of information about this fragrance that's been released by the brand. A lot of these don't really have press releases yet, but I did find one on Lalique's website for this. It says it's a new fragrance inspired by the maritime horizon at dusk, capturing the shades of a vibrant and deep blue. This fragrance interprets a vision of refined and essential elegance, translating the codes of Brioni tailoring into the olfactory realm. It says that the fragrance explores the dialogue between light and depth, revealing the sea at its most intense, inspired by the Mediterranean at dusk. The fragrance accompanies the transition from luminous freshness to a more intense, woody, and richly nuanced base. So just looking at the note breakdown, the write-up, everything else, it looks like the fragrance is gonna have a bright citrus fruity opening, a little bit of aromatic spice as it dries down. I would imagine there's gonna be a little bit of a green aspect to it, kind of a coastal vibe potentially, because they do say that this one has initially luminous freshness, so I would imagine very bright and uplifting. And that fig itself might be kind of green in here as well. Could also be juicy, you know, there's a lot of different ways that note can come across and they don't specify. But then they do specifically say that it gradually becomes denser, woodier, and more textured. So that to me sounds like a potential hidden gem Mediterranean freshie that has a nice density to it where you could wear it potentially year round. And I thought some of you out there would want to hear about it. Also, just super quickly, D Squared is coming out with a new fragrance and it's called Icon Dude. That is a great name. Icon Dude. Media photo has some chud with an icon hat and a girl on his back. He's just straight flexing. Ugh. This one's got top notes of Kinoto, geranium, and saffron, a mid of orange blossom, volcanic olibanum, holy frig, and amber, and then a base of patchouli, cypriol, and cade. Every other note's just normal, and then it got to olibanum, and they're like, volcanic. Holy shit, got intense, bro. Why the volcano? Why are you gonna bring that into it? Hell's wrong with you? D Squared is kind of interesting when it comes to fragrances for men. So they had the whole wood line, right? The original ones. They had like wood bottles and everything. And they didn't do the hottest, so they ended up killing all of them. And D Squared Wild as well. Just everything got axed, all just dead. And then they brought back the wood fragrances in a new bottle, like a different direction, you know? They weren't just rebottlings is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, they brought them out in the new wood bottles and nobody cared. And see, it's getting confusing that the new bottles weren't wood, but they were named wood. So when I say the new wood bottles, that's what I mean. And it just really hasn't made a huge impact. And then, you know, they've not released a ton and now they're coming out with this new Icon Dude. So this is a new woody spicy designed around contrasts between brightness, spice florals, and darker woods. Kinoto has kind of a bitter quality to it at times, bitter citrus. And then also at the top, geranium and saffron. Saffron a lot of times going to be a little bit sweeter, kind of warm. Geranium more standard, aromatic freshness, touch green at times. Orange blossom, of course, all over the place nowadays. You know, that one can come across very clean. But I would imagine with the volcanic olibanum that it's going to be more of like a warm, resinous, probably smoky aspect in the mid. And then honestly, with Cade in the base as well, that kind of doubles up on the whole smoky identity, smoky, leathery, dry woods. So we'll see how that one works out. At least it has a real note breakdown, and also double at least. It's not just kind of like I said before, bergamot plus lavender plus vanilla, right? So I gotta give them credit for that. Let's talk the other new Club de Nuit, guys. This one is called Club de Nuit Elite. From the photo, it does look like a smaller bottle size. So I'm wondering if this is gonna be like in the new Extrait sizes, you know, where it's not like your typical size Club de Nuit. That's what it looks like. Online right now, it does say basically just notes coming soon. And this one's been rolled out at FragCon, which I am not at, obviously. So I haven't smelled this, but people online right now are saying that it's inspired by Creed's Wild Vetiver, which would make some sense as far as the color scheme there. You know, this yellowish green gradient going on. But then other people who have smelled this have said that in actuality, it comes across smelling like sort of a combo, a hybrid of Imagination and Pacific Chill, which that's interesting because Wild Vetiver does not smell like a combo of those two fragrances. So it's like, okay. But apparently more people are coming out that have smelled it at this convention and stuff saying Wild Vetiver, that it smells similar to Wild Vetiver, which to me would maybe make a little more sense as far as just what Club de Nuit has done in the past, right? Like Sillage and Milestone and stuff like that. I would imagine we'll figure this out real soon because it's gonna be rolling out if they're having people smell it, you know, at conventions and stuff. And in the near future, we'll know which one it is. Although, you know, Imagination plus Pacific Chill, if that were pulled off really well, I mean, I could see that doing extremely well. Probably better than a Wild Vetiver type fragrance for whatever that's worth. But, you know, if it does Wild Vetiver really well, then it's great because it gives people something they can wear that's gonna get them a similar vibe for way, way less. So either way, as long as it's done well, everybody wins for the most part. I guess not technically everybody, but. All right, let's wrap it up with the new Parfums de Marly. This one looks kind of like a matte, you know, cement kind of painted bottle. Does that have texture to it? I can't tell by the photo. No, it looks kind of like just Altair. I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like that primer gray, like Nardo gray on Audis or Alpine gray on Benzes, or what is it, Brooklyn gray on BMWs. Like they're all the same color almost. I know somebody's gonna be like, no, they're not. There is a difference. But you know what I'm saying, like car primer flat gray. That's kind of like what they painted this one. And it is Dorval by PdM. Note breakdown: bergamot, cardamom, and pink pepper off the top, clary sage, balm, and cinnamon in the mid. Base of bourbon, vanilla, tonka, and guaiac wood. Balm, B-A-L-M? What kind of balm? Lip balm? Maybe it means balsamic. Balsamic notes, that makes sense. Balm, balsamic, is that a reach? I think that might be it. So this one is being presented as a rich, spicy gourmand type of fragrance. So this is gonna go into that whole territory, you know, the deeper PdM fragrance pile. Because when it comes to Parfums de Marly, there's like clearly two sides. You've got the fresher ones, and then you have the ones that are fall winter. This is on that side. Now it does look like it has a nice fresh opening most likely, or fresh leaning at least, maybe not traditionally fresh. Bergamot, cardamom, pink pepper, fresh spice, citrus when you first spray it on, nice brightness, kind of an effervescence most likely. Then as it dries down, you get those deeper notes coming out, more of a warmth. You get the clary sage, the balm or balsamic notes, cinnamon, bourbon, vanilla, tonka, so you get all that sweetness as you hit that dry down. I would imagine it doesn't become pure dessert because the guaiac wood in there usually is gonna give a little hint of smokiness, woodiness of course as well. And PdM apparently had some events for this one as well where they're kind of like, you know, rolling it out, letting some people smell it and things like that. And the early consensus was that it is darker, smokier, and spicier than Altair. Do take that with a massive grain of salt though, because that's just like the tiniest amount of feedback that's online about this right now. So that is possibly how it ends up as far as drying down. I do think that personally, I usually have more faith in PDM doing fragrances that are fall winter time than I do spring summer. Some of the spring summer ones are really good, but I think that you have a higher likelihood a lot of times of them hitting it out of the park if it's one of the more warm, sweet, heavy ones. All right, guys, there it is. Tons of new things coming out. Let me know in the notes what you're most excited about and what you're least excited about. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.